I can see why.
Yeah. So let me see. How am I sounding overall? Am I sound too loud or anything?
Man, you sound
No, it sounds good.
No, you're
Beautiful.
sound
Fabulous.
All right. Very good. And let's see. Hey, music to my ears. What's music to your ears?
Oinky, oinky, oinky.
I kind of like 80s early music, like early kind of punk rock stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, and not real bad. Kind of the stuff like Adam Ant, Flock of Seagulls, that kind of group, not the real pop music kind of stuff. And you drink a couple sanding juices, and you sit there and you just dance away while you're sanding. It's the best feeling in the world. I love it. What do y'all sand to, or what do y'all sand to? Anything?
I'll be honest with you, I have never sanded a knife, so I have to pass on that one.
Mark? I'm a radio guy, so unfortunately all the stuff I like is now on the classic rock station.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go now. There we go.
But put on some Nirvana, Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
That era, that's kind of my jam.
I listen.
I don't like
podcasts.
I don't like jam. I like honey.
Yeah. Do podcasts and then music. But it depends on the mood. If I'm in a just chilling type mood, I'll listen to podcasts. If I'm trying to stay focused and not let my, ADHD or whatever you want to call it get all awry, I listen to pretty heavy music. I'm like the mom in that Monsters Inc. movie where it's like, I'm just going to listen to my tunes in a little car, and then it's like death metal that comes on.
I don't like jam. I like honey, and I kiss it. Isn't that kind of what he said?
Oh.
Y'all don't know what I'm talking about? The Gary Busey thing?
Nope. Don't know that one.
Not at all.
I haven't heard that.
What movie?
Oh my gosh! Somebody talk while I find this real quick.
Yeah. I see that. I'm looking at Brandon's page. I see he likes to hand sand. He's hand sanding a kitchen knife.
Yeah,
He's
I don't like it. Yeah. I do it, but I don't.
Like you love that, man. It seems like you were just moving. I think, man, he likes this.
Yeah, Odyssey is the only one that I've ever heard of that says that they like hand.
He loves it. Yeah, he likes it. He says it's just therapeutic.
I don't know. Sometimes
I don't mind it. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I've hand sanded 95% of my knives for 15 years. And
talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does, why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. What about buttered sausage?
That's not your jam. It's not your thing. You don't like it?
It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
God.
Well,
Okay.
there you go.
Boy,
I don't buy jam.
Nailed it. Like that was spot on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said,
3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
Get ready, y'all. We about to Bobby Boucher you. Bam!
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast, featuring Odysseer Special Sauce Pinto.
I was a mean kid.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Don the Train Watson.
I can pay off all my credit cards and beef jerky credit line at Bucky.
Joey the Riot Terrier.
Cochon de lait will make you smack your lips and anyone getting too close to your plate.
Mark the Sallow.
You drinking my soupy?
And Chip Shegman Carlisle. And now broadcasting alive, it's the Knives Templars. Coming to you live from Porkhouse Studios located in Hartselle, Alabama and other U.S. locations. This is the Knives Templars podcast. We are the coolest knife-making podcast on the planet, and we are downloaded around this big blue marble in over 24 countries. We are on air, on demand, and heard worldwide in all of your favorite apps and at knivestemplars.com. Welcome, guys. We are into, is this episode 46?
I lost track. We're starting to get a lot of them now. You know, I mean, it's kind of like your age. Once you get over 40, you just lose track, right?
Well, I'm gonna, yeah.
Buttered sausage.
Talk about buttered sausage. I tell you what, I don't like sausage. I like honey. I kiss it on the lips. I tell you what, though, I'm going to be 59 tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday, man!
Yeah.
All right.
And I guess I can understand why people that talk gibberish like that actually totally make sense to me and make me laugh. I'm becoming senile. I love every bit of it. So, as long as we can laugh at ourselves. Hey, man, what episode are we at? My goodness, I've got to look it up here. I've got to look it up. This is live. Yes, we are season 5, episode 46. Because last episode 45, was "Quit Squeezing My Balls" with Jay Nielsen.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
right. It was a good one.
Well, she wouldn't quit squeezing his little squeezy head.
Yeah, the Freddy ball.
The Freddy ball. So, hey, it fit. So, tonight, we've got on the great Brandon Guys. Did I say that correctly, Brandon?
You did. Thank you.
Perfect. Because I usually get like Chip Carlisle or Carlisle and various others. So I just changed my name to Spaghetti Margherita, and then nobody ever gets that wrong. But you are the proud owner of episode 46. Welcome to the show tonight, brother.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I feel like I just won the lottery. This is exciting.
Yeah, welcome.
It's almost that good. Yeah.
You won the lottery 7 months ago, because I was trying to get you on the show back then. I think that you had something come up. You weren't able. You had to cancel out on us, didn't you?
I got so confused with what you. I was driving to Indiana when I was messaging you, and I'm like, yeah, that day sounds great. Not thinking it was like the following week or something like that. Not the week I was up in Indiana with doing all the family things. So yeah, I got my wires all the way crossed.
Well,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I know when you're speaking to someone with celebrity like myself, it's you get a little anxious. You know, it can just happen. But
you are now and forever will be the chicken man to me.
I am the chicken man.
Yep, chicken man.
And before we go there, don't ever think my celebrity gets in the way. I love to talk to people. I'm just one of everybody else. By day, I'm a mild-mannered chicken safety man. By night, I'm a celebrity in my own mind. But the real celebrities are on here because I just know how to push buttons. I got the smart guys on here, including finally got you, Brandon. We're so tickled. Hey, just so everybody knows, Joey's not going to be on tonight. He is out and away from the house. I believe his wife has a birthday or anniversary, if I'm not mistaken.
Birthday.
Yeah, and Otis here is running late, he said, and will not be able to make it. Big Hand, let's all keep him in our prayers. He said he was feeling a little under the weather tonight. And our buddy, I got an announcement to make. Our buddy Josh Ferran, a new Knives Templar guest host, he's driving back from New Orleans. He had to go down there and get his passport squared away because he'll be going overseas with some of the engineering work that he does when he's not farming and making knives and everything else that he does. It's cool. And speaking of that, guys, I'd like to welcome Josh Ferran to the show. I will say I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole here, guys. I'm going to update the intro because we got to get Jason and Big Hand and Josh into the intro now. And so, Mark, you will not be saying "you drinking my soup." We'll let you pick out something that fits your personality better. So,
all right.
There you go.
Yeah. It'll be like, "Don't touch squishy" or something like that. Or "My wife will beat you up if you touch squishy."
That's the truth. That's the truth.
He has said that. I keep a catalog of these things. But yeah, Josh, as many of you do know, and some of you don't, was a champion on Forged in Fire. And also a great teacher, blacksmith and knife maker, engineer, race car driver, farmer, just does so many things and does them all right. And on top of that, he's a great heart to anybody he comes along with. So if we go around the board here, my talent is, I can say .com. Other than that, I'm gonna leave it right there. Don the Train Don the Train Watson has a, there you go. He's got a choo-choo whistle, so we said we have to give him on there because we couldn't find one of those sound effects anywhere, and he brought that to the show. But he's also a brilliant wood crafter with doing lathe work. You just can't beat any of the stuff that I've seen that he's made. As a matter of fact, my kitchen table is gracing a piece of his work as we speak, and love it to death. Don, how are you doing? I'm going to go around the table slowly here. How are you doing tonight, Don?
But I'm doing real well, man. Appreciate you.
I'm glad to see you're back in T-shirt weather down there in Florida.
I got my nice slippers on, baby.
All right.
Something to you.
Identifies a knife maker. There you go. There you go. You don't. We're going to talk about. You said I don't ever sand, so we got to figure that out because I've got carpal tunnel syndrome for sanding for about 12 hours the last 2 weeks. So we'll talk about that later. Don, what was for dinner tonight?
It was pork steak.
Sounds good. Applesauce.
Yep. I had cranberry sauce and salad. Yep.
Sounds good. Any cow chow?
I'm drinking my cow.
All right, buddy. Mark Vasallo, great Air Force veteran, climbed 14,000-foot slopes. He's probably crawled through a swamp or two. He has developed a great-looking beard. Now I know he's a beardman, so Shegman actually means beardman. So he's a great beardman. So you can come to work for me now. And a great knife maker and. He's just all around a wonderful person. He even picks up after parades when they have Mardi Gras, so or directs the cleaning up after parades. Mark, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Chip.
Dinner?
So dinner was light today. It's been busy. Haven't been and had to get home and eat something. So I actually had some yogurt and granola. Was dinner.
Well, that's not a bad choice.
Yeah.
Fancy.
You're probably 10, 15 years younger than me, I'm guessing, maybe. And
I'm 53.
Oh, well, you're an old fart too. So that granola is good because you've been backed up all week, and by tomorrow morning you should be doing well again.
I need to bring that granola to work because I've been backed up at work. So maybe that will free all that.
My son works in industrial pumping if you need anything, so I can hook you up there. So big city-sized pumps. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We've also got Forged in Fire and not is it International or National Knife Guild?
Technically it's international. We don't wave that flag, but we got a bunch of South Africans and Italians, some Russian guys,
Yeah, well, we've got International Knife Guild. Past president Jason Fry brings one heck of a scary implement to a blade show every year to swing at people. And from his Forged in Fire episode, he is known as a historical maker. He is an author, well published in Blade Magazine's got his own books out. And he literally has probably the smallest rack I've ever seen on a man. On your wall back there behind you.
I don't know if that's supposed to be bad or good, bro.
Well, let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 points on that thing, right?
Yeah, it's a little 8
maybe,
point. My son
8 point. Okay, got a couple brow tines.
Yeah,
he keeps blaming that baby deer on his son.
Yeah.
Actually, Jason's a great hunter too. Matter of fact, you've been sending us some hunting pictures here lately.
Yeah, I've been hunting a little bit. Killed a pig a couple weekends ago while y'all were talking to Jay Nielsen. It was it was a good trade off, right?
Right.
Food for the family. But yeah, Chip, I've done all those things. Have never been the president of the big capital G Knife Makers Guild. I was president
of the Texas Guild. Excuse me. I'm not a smart man.
Texas is plenty good enough to be its own international country. I mean, that's perfectly fine. But guilds are different. So I don't.
So I got to
mistakenly take credit.
I have a question for you about that. So I went on the Texas the knife maker or the knife, the Texas Knife Makers Guild or whatever it is. That says that the website was designed by Kara Fry.
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah,
I was like, I wonder if there's a relation there.
I was kind of I was the second president of that after the first president quit while I was vice president. So it really hadn't gone anywhere. And then I became the president. And so kind of I built it. I can't claim to be the first president, but I did build it from scratch. And that includes like calling in favors to my family to build the website, things like that.
Well,
so.
Is there any possibility of me getting a few extra brownie points to get into the guild just because I know you and you
have to move to Texas?
Well, the Texas one, yeah, I can pull some strings.
No. The big guild,
The big guild is bigger than me. Those rules are pretty tight.
but aren't you a judge?
I am a judge.
I just have to walk up to you, right? I don't have to see anybody else, do I?
Yeah, we do everything by committee for exactly that reason.
Son of a biscuit. Well, anyway, it's good having you on the show.
Glad to be here.
We love you, brother. We're going to be talking a little bit about what you've been doing here shortly. Additionally, Eric Rivers, full-time knife maker and YouTuber, is on the show tonight. And like I said, since we're spreading this around, the skills that we're bringing to this great new team, or this great existing team with great new players, is Eric. Certainly, everybody knows him on the Rivers Experience and his YouTube as well as Facebook, and also his beautiful knives. This guy's stamping out knives one hammer swing at a time, and it's almost like he's stamping them out. The guy's a hammering machine, and makes some of the most beautiful knives. He's inspired me to start beating on steel, and I'm looking for a guillotine these days myself, just because he's inspiring. So how you been doing?
Been doing good. I've been enjoying this lifestyle. I've been very blessed to be able to do this, and so far it's been very successful.
Good.
I'm doing good. Income's doing good. Selling knives, and people are buying them. I've sold a few people double knives and a few purchases and things like that. So it's been going good. I've had a few other things happen that have kind of helped me out, and it's been absolutely awesome.
Well, that's wonderful. I want to get into that a little bit because you're transitioning into a full-time maker. You're still in the transition, so to speak. I mean, you've had your own LLC, I would assume, for quite some time with all of your ventures, but now you're not answering to the man. You no longer get a vacation or a raise because you are the man, right?
Yep. I'm the guy that forces myself to work and pay myself like crap sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely, again, just amazing. So the other guy that did the same job that I had at the business that I worked for, he's just like, every time I talk to him, he's just going, man, I wish that I was doing what you're doing, because now he's doing both of our jobs by himself, and and I'm over here just doing my thing, and he's just like, I want to do. He's the guy that got me into YouTube. He's the one that took me to go get my first camera, and helped me decide what I was gonna do, edit my first several videos, and he's just like, he's like 25.
You're going to need an Igor someday, so he can be your Igor. So just tell him to
I told him that.
Yeah, he's start growing his hump now, because when you can afford somebody else on the payroll, I mean, Fader and all those guys, Fader's got a staff now, I believe. You hear him talk about on Knife Talk. So when you get to that point, matter of fact, I may send a resume if you need a safety engineer. So you'll fire me because I just point out all the things all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, just every single time I go to cut something with my angle grinder and don't have the guard on it.
Yeah, I'm watching all you guys, and big time guys, and I'm sitting there watching their YouTube videos, and I'd never say anything because I know they'll tell me to go get bent or ground. But I'm like, man, they got that guard's missing, and man, his eyes, and this, that, and the other. And But I will tell you, sometimes when I go out to sand something real quick, I got to teach myself, even though you're just grinding something for another 5 minutes, put it back on. Don't go put that mask back on. So,
Oh yeah.
Big Hand Dave, competition chopper. And I'm not talking about the kind that flies. He's a guy that walks around with a big old giant knife and goes through everything. He's on the Pops Knife Supplies staff and competition staff, and travels around. And we've also got, I'm going to cough here. And I'm back. And I guess I mentioned Josh Ferran, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Good guy. I'm glad I got some tea tonight. I didn't ask you, Jason, what are you eating tonight?
I ate some very unremarkable pizza delivery, and I'm having a Dr. Pepper with a little something in it. So,
A man after my own heart.
You should have had a little oinky, oinky, oinky backstrap on that pizza.
yeah. I had like ground up pepperoni, spaghetti, margherita kind of pepperoni. But
I'm glad you got the name down.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do my smoking on Saturdays, so I might cook some pork tomorrow. I did some last weekend, so.
Well, when you're cooking wild pig like that, do you have to be careful with it or cook it any particular way? Just to a certain temperature and you're good? You don't have to worry about anything in it?
To the general public, I would say I have no idea. In reality, I've eaten about 60 of them and haven't ever gotten sick without taking any special precautions. So don't tell the safety man.
Don't do that.
I cook it and eat it, man. I don't know.
I'm not a food safety guy. I just don't know if you have to do something with pork. I would assume.
No, I mean,
no.
I don't. I mean, I'm not one of those guys even that wears gloves when I field dress. I mean,
Yeah.
if people have been eating animals from the wild for millennia, centuries and centuries and centuries, and being paranoid about it only came on the last 100 years. So
gotcha.
I just kind of figure I'll go the ancestral way and just shoot things and eat them.
Well, next weekend I'll be shooting pigs or deer or coyote, whatever walks out in front. So I'm going down for 3 days in South Alabama. Eric, I didn't ask you, what'd you have to eat tonight?
So I made some. I'm probably gonna screw the name up. That Bidia, whatever it is. It's like Birria. Beef. Okay, so people use beef or pork. Yeah. And I made that and did some sandwiches with it instead of tacos.
Is it a meat or is it what is it?
Yes. Yeah. So you traditionally you do it with pork. Okay. You can do it with pork, or you could do it with like a roast if you want to. But I make the sauce that goes in it and all that. And basically, you crock pot it down, cook it down for a while, and take the beef or take the meat out, and then you blend up the stuff that's left in the crock pot, and you can dip everything in that. So you use that as a dip or a sauce. And what I did was I made these sandwiches that I toasted in the air fryer with them and everything, and it was awesome. Homemade pickles, and all that. So it was good. I ate good tonight.
Yeah, and the rest of the family ate well too.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best things about having me at the house. My shop's at the house. You know, I cook something ridiculous almost every single day, and I don't spend any money on fuel. I don't spend any money on going out to eat because I don't eat anywhere for lunch. I eat at home. So I'm probably saving about $900 between fuel and food a month.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with that. I love the Walter Sorrells type room you've set up there to do all your videos in. That nice green and the structure you've got built around you. So you're going. Looks like you're getting ready to go full Walter Sorrells on us.
with the background.
Yeah, it looks good. What's on the picture back there behind you?
That is a dinosaur.
Oh yeah. That's scary. That's scary, Eric. That's scary.
Toby's got them all over the place in here.
Nice touch. Nice touch.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you stole Toby's room as your new recording room.
Yep.
There you go. Poor Toby. He's on the couch till we got to hurry up because he's got to go to bed at sometime tonight. So anyway, hey, Brandon, since I haven't formally introduced you. We're going to get to you here shortly. We're tickled. You're a what do we call? He's not a guest host. He's just a guest tonight.
A friend.
A friend.
Who gets to hang out.
Yeah. What'd you eat tonight, Brandon?
I have not eaten yet. I know my girlfriend was out there cooking when I came into my office, and it's something. There's still leftover turkey, and so she's putting stuff together to make something. So I imagine it's probably going to be pretty good, but who knows?
Well, that sounds good because I like turkey, and I will tell you, I made white chicken chili, but I used turkey instead with the leftover turkey. Man, you talk about 3 days of I didn't have to eat turkey sandwiches. Man, that was delicious. I just had the best time with that. So, anyway, a little hint to you there if you've got any more left over after tonight. Hey guys, welcome. I want y'all to settle on in for this episode. Templars is out there. We're the best podcast to teach rising and established makers like all you listeners out there to pave your way into knife making as a hobby or as a business. And, we've got hobby and business guys on here now. And we are heard in how many countries, Mark?
38.
He's on silent? He's silent?
Yeah.
He's still silent?
38.
Well, you shouldn't listen to the guy in the next table. It's 37.
Hey, I'm trying to pump us up, baby.
I cheated off the paper and I failed.
Yeah, you both get a zero. But the last time I looked, it was 37. It's probably 38 or 39 now. So I'll give you partial credit. But we want to thank you guys for your listenership and making us one of the best rising podcasts out here on this planet. And I can excitedly say, have you guys been to knivestemplars.com last week?
I have. Because there was a new notification on there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you haven't, you're not getting my links. Guys, head out to knivestemplars.com and you'll see some updated info. We've got press release for Josh Ferran coming on board. And we can have up to 8 people recording at a time, and there's 9 of us. And what that allows us to do is that, people's lives get busy, and we have families, and whether someone's sick or has to step away or this, that, and the other, we've always got enough people to pull in here to have a group of guys on here talking rather than just 2 or 3 giving you their opinions on knife making and dropping F-bombs here or there just to stay entertaining in their eyes. With that being said, having the type of show that we do and having the group of people that we've got, you're not always listening to the same ones. Unfortunately, one of these days, well, that's not true because we've had some of you guys step in and host a couple times when I went AWOL. So it gives everybody, we are not the View. Of knife making. We are not the talk of knife making, but we are a conglomerate of guys that come from different backgrounds, different parts of the company at different stages in their knife making and different skill sets all around that make it truly interesting. And we hope we make it interesting for you. So if you go out there, you will also see that we dropped a new product review today for our friend over at knifemaker.com. And before we go there, I just want to tell you that did I say knifemaker.com? Oh, that's me. Oh, please go to knifemaker.com, buy my knives. But I'm really speaking a review for TR Maker. Was that a slip of the tongue or was it not? I don't know. I'm always looking for some way to get that in there. Knife-maker.com. TR-maker.com. Since 1980, TR Maker, has been over there in Istanbul, Turkey, producing high quality and fast service tools and to every country in the world. As a matter of fact, I ordered my file guide on a midweek, Wednesday or Thursday, and I think on Monday it was in my hands. It was going through customs while it was still en route. So that's the kind of business he does. It wasn't cheap to send his parts, and he gets them over here, and they are machined beautifully, and you'll love them. But you can find Ucell at tr-maker.com, and TR Maker can supply you a multitude of different knife making tools. And that's what leads me up to I received a polishing tool, a sanding tool. I received a file guide, and I received a guard press. And while I got the file guide, he also included for me to review the polishing tool and the guard press. And I will tell you, they made my knife making so much easier, reduce the curve, and I found out the benefits of using each one. And what's very important to us as makers is integrity and reputation. Integrity and reputation take a long time to build. They're very easy to tear apart and destroy. And when that happens, it's very hard to get it back. So even in this review that I've done, you'll see that I've got some comments around one of the devices. So you'll have to go read the story over at knivestemplars.com. But overall, 3 excellent products that I will be using for years with what he sent me. So I was very fortunate to get those. And no, I'm not going to share them with you guys. But I will tell you where you can get those, and those that are tr-maker.com. And if you're interested in seeing some of the results, just go to knife-maker.com. And that's where we are tonight. Woo! Hey, we got some exciting news to tell you. How'd you like that? Woo! That was about. I grew up in North Carolina. I used to work out at Gold's Gym. I know you can tell that now. My granddaughter said this week. She says, "Poppy, are you going to have a baby?" She's 3.5.
Oh,
she's 3.5.
And honest to a fault.
I said, "No, I'm going to have a new puppy. I'm going to have a new puppy." She's like, all right. Got some great news I want to point out. Just something that's coming up. Jerry Gardner over at Forging a Difference. He's going to be hosting their 3rd annual fundraiser at the USS Alabama. He wants us to plug the show, but heck, why wouldn't we? We would have talked about it even if he hadn't contacted us. But it's going to be the Blacksmith Experience. They'll be hosting the family-friendly, which is wonderful, 3rd annual knife-making competition at the USS Alabama battleship on Saturday, December 9th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's this coming Saturday after you hear this podcast. The event features former contestants from History Channel TV show Forged in Fire, Otis Pinto from Naked and Afraid. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Forged in Fire. Knives will be made of steel from the USS Texas and wood from the USS Alabama. There's a suggested $5 admission fee to enter that also registers you to win one of those knives being made that day. You don't need to be present to win. Come and go as you like. This is a fundraiser for the nonprofit organization Forging a Difference again. It uses blacksmithing and knife making to serve veterans, active duty, law enforcement, and first responders. Guys, head out to the battleship down there in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm sure you will have a wonderful, wonderful day. Mark, you attended that last year, did you not?
I did. It was a great event, and Jerry did an amazing job. I had about 3 seconds to meet with him, but he was running around making sure everything was going just right. But everybody was there watching the competition, had a great time. So, and I had a friend that went there that won one of the knives that they finished up. So it was good to see that. But one more piece of news, and I'm not sure if Jerry advertised it yet, but I've been texting with him, and I know on our last episode when Jay and Shelly were on, and they said that they weren't going to be able to make it work to get out to that event. I think the schedule opened back up, and they are going to be able to make it out there. So I look forward to meeting them in person.
Amen.
That's
Good
wonderful.
deal.
That's wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. He's a good man. Good. She's a good maker too, right? Growing, I was watching some photos or seeing some photos where they're upgrading that shop out there in Texas. So it's great to see the Texas Guild continuing to grow. Good group of people in our country. And you can also find them at forgingadifference.com. So if you want to find out more about the upcoming event or just the organization itself, head out to forgingadifference.com. Or you can go to the riversexperience.com. Nothing on there about the Battleship Texas, but Eric says, come look at my knives. Got a lot of great Christmas knives. What about Jason Fry?
Yeah.
FryCustomKnives.com?
Yeah, FryCustomKnives.com always. But since we're talking about Battleship Texas, let me throw in a little bit of something there. So there are about 150 of us. I'm one, but there's a bunch of guys and a few ladies that are making knives out of Battleship Texas steel to donate back to the Battleship Texas Foundation, right? So they are using that money to rebuild and refurbish the ship. So again, I'm happy to be a part of that. I'm happy to mention that all of those knives will be auctioned off by the foundation. So 150 Texas and United States knife makers are making really, really cool things. Everything from cigar humidors and electric guitars made out of deck wood. I'm making a San Mai blade with a 360 layer core and the deck. The ship steel on the outside. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there. That is the Battleship Texas Foundation. Over the next few months, will be auctioning off some really crazy, incredible stuff made out of the ship.
Yeah,
I'm a little sad I can't make it all the way to Alabama to play the ship forging game with y'all over there.
Yeah, too bad.
Well, I tell you what, while we're still talking kind of Navy, did y'all see that that blade that Dennis Tyrell is finishing up? He's finishing up. I don't know if you call it a saber or what it is. It's he's finishing up for an officer in the Navy, and I tell you what, it's one of the most gorgeous blades I've ever seen. It's just beautiful. If you haven't seen it,
it's beautiful. I gotta look at that. That blew my mind.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, you need to head out to Facebook or his website, see where he's got it posted, Instagram, because it's just a gorgeous tool. So we'll know if he listens to this podcast or not, because he's a very gracious fellow, and he'll come back and say, "Thanks for giving me a heads up there. Be my friend." And I'll be like, "Even with my celebrity, yes, I'll be your friend, Dennis Tyrell. I will. He's a good guy. I was watching him. He's a very gracious, very, very good, very, very good guy. Brandon,
yes.
Do you work full time, or you making knives full time? You work full time. Excuse me. Do you have another job, or do you make knives full time?
Well, I work for myself, so I make knives part time. I guess I make knives enough I sell enough knives to pay for my knife making addiction. Is where I'm at.
Good deal.
It's a good place to be.
My bills are paid elsewhere.
Gotcha. It seems like every time I turn around, I've never seen anybody that now that I know pays his bills some other way, and that makes as many knives as you do. That's amazing. What I see going up on your site and what you're putting out every day, something different.
Out to the middle of nowhere in Florida, from Indianapolis, and I have no social life at this point. So my free time, I go out to my garage, and that's where I hang out, me and the dogs.
Yeah, I'm surprised you mentioned a girlfriend cooking dinner. I'm surprised you even got a girlfriend if you're spending that much time making knives.
Oh no, I had to bring her. I had to import her from Indiana.
Okay. So does she help out in the shop?
Oh no, she stays well away, but she does try to store all of the things in my shop, and I'm constantly having to move them out of the way.
Does she help you spend your knife money?
Oddly enough,
does she help you
no.
spend your knife money?
Because you know what? Like I said, I make enough to keep supporting my habit. That's where I'm at. I'm like a bad drug dealer at this point. But no, she's
a knife dealer.
It's good that way because we both work from home. So when we're not working, we have our nice little separation there, which is always
there you go.
Key, I think.
Well, I met you the first time at Blade Show last year, and I believe you came up and you were talking to Eric, and that's how I came across you. And you have an extremely pleasant personality. Tell us a little bit about how you got into knife making.
Oh, COVID. Literally COVID. I was in Indianapolis. I was doing primarily photo and video work, and COVID shut me down. And I literally went down a YouTube rabbit hole. I said, man, I want to make knives. And so I started spending a bunch of money and, dug into my, set my garage up. And I was in it was a pretty big house. I had a 3-car garage, but I was in the middle of a neighborhood. So I know my neighbors hated me at that point. But yeah, I took over the little third car garage over there and started going at it. It's been I've been at this for probably 3 years now, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's still new. It's
Yeah,
fun.
I'm in the third bay of my garage, and I've been thinking about building a 20 by 30 building out on the back of my property and doing something there, but not quite there yet because I'm still making money out of my garage. So, but I know the feeling. Sometimes I have no way to put any bigger tools in there right now, and I do want to get a press. So something's got to give for sure.
Yeah, I worked my first 5 years out of a 1-car garage, a third of a 1-car garage. You can make some pretty cool stuff in a pretty tiny space if you're determined enough. It's really what it amounts to. If you're determined enough.
Y'all saw what I had. I had a 12 by 12 and an 11 by 11.
Well,
what's great about being in Florida is half my garage is outside, or half my shop is outside now, because obviously I don't have to worry about snow. So the stuff that can be outside, all the real messy stuff, is all outside. I've got a little overhang next to a horse stall, and it's great as far as that goes.
Do you have horses?
No, but the people that were here before had a horse with some cows. So we don't currently have. We only have the dogs, but there are still remnants of the farm life.
Yeah. Now, where are you at in the state with regard to? You said you're dead center or in the center.
Yeah.
What?
I'm like 2 hours due south of Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Literally in the middle of the state, in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
You're in Hurricane Alley.
Yeah. You know what? Ian smoked us pretty good for not being on the coast. Ian did quite a bit of damage. Look, the county next to me, the county just west, got a bunch of flood damage, and we had a bunch of wind damage. But
right,
that's the worst I've experienced so far. But it's only been about 2.5 years.
Well, yeah, you've gone from Tornado Alley to Hurricane Alley. Nice move there, Brandon.
I don't have snow. I will embrace the hurricanes for not having snow.
I hear you. I moved from Michigan where all the snow was, but I live in everything comes across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and hits Alabama, and then you weren't born yet in 2011, Brandon, but in 2011 we had 200 and something tornadoes in one day here in Alabama alone, and man, just destroyed the state. Went through University of Alabama and killed many people that day. So I still don't like tornadoes. They still give me the heebie-jeebies. But I always said I think I would like a hurricane better because you can plan for a hurricane.
Yep.
But they just go. I've been in hurricanes too. They just go on and on and on and on and just don't seem to want to stop. Especially if they stall over you. So, anyway, I'm glad you're in Central Florida, and you have now you're 2 hours south of Brian, our housemate up there, right? Aren't they in the Orlando area?
He's about 2 hours from me. I'm to the east of him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A little bit north and mostly east.
Yeah. Is he in the Tampa area?
No,
he's
Fort
in
Myers.
Naples.
Fort
yeah,
Myers.
yeah, okay,
Naples, Fort Myers.
That's on the West Coast.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know exactly where he's at. Then, yeah, he's a cool dude. Good guy. Have y'all buddied up?
Yeah, great guy. Actually, right after Blade Show,
I know.
We all got together and did what he dubbed the Foundry, and it was Dennis Tyrell came down, Coy Baker from Baker Knife and Tool. Is that what it is?
Forge and Tool.
Forge and Tools. A few other guys. We all got together for about another 3 days after Blade Show and did a bunch of projects. Went out to Koresha State Park out there, where a great guy named Steve runs like an old school coal forge. What do you call it? Like a exhibit out at the state park. Right. And so we all went out there and did some forging with him, and we put together one of Brian's forges for Coy to take back to, I believe he's in North Carolina, Western North Carolina, but to take back with him. It was a great time. Exhausting after Blade Show, because you know what kind of experience Blade Show is. So it was like 3 days of Blade Show, drive back, spent the night at home, went over there for three more days, but it was a great time.
Well, y'all made that Godzilla Apollo Forge while y'all were there, didn't you?
Yeah, that was the one for Coy.
Oh, okay. That was a double burner Apollo Forge, so.
Yeah, it was something. When that thing fired, it was something else.
Yeah. Speaking of forges, I went to my local U-Haul to fill up my large tank 100-pounder, and the guy said I've been using it, and I sat and forged for about 8 hours on a couple things, and he put it on the scale, and he says this is still full, and I'm like, my goodness, I just sat here forged for 8 hours and it's still full. And that brings me to the point. If you want a great forge, guys, you can't beat Majestic Forge at majesticforge.com. They are the manufacturer of gas forges, ranging from 2 to 5 burners, artist forges, and many other different types to choose from. Make sure that you find your next Majestic Forge to suit your needs over at majesticforge.com. And these are the forges that they used on Forged in Fire also. And I can't say that Majestic Forge is sipping gas because the guy at the U-Haul said they probably just overfilled your tank last time. So I was like, cool. So it was 165 pounds when he weighed it, and that's what a 100-pounder weighs when it's full. So anyway, he wouldn't give me any more gas. I got to wait till I empty it some more. So, but yeah, you guys, and I will tell you, I'm not partial to any one brand when there's so many good brands out there. That Apollo forge is going to be my next forge as well. I know that Kyle Daly's putting one together right now, and it's
looking good.
Making me a little sick to my stomach to sit there and watch him build it instead of me building one. So, what kind of forge are you using, Brendan?
Oh, I built one, and it is a Frankenstein of a mess. I built one out of an old propane tank. I went through a couple of the Amazon cheapy joints and was just like this. I just bit the bullet and built one, and it's working. It's working pretty well. I mean, it's definitely a Frankenstein, but it's working.
Well, that's all you need, though. I mean, Eric, you built yours, and Brayson, you built yours, didn't you?
Yep, I built my last 2.
Yep, same. I'd say 2. I've built like 6, depending on what burners I feel like using at that time.
So when you build one out of an old LP tank, do you just remove the fittings on the top and fill it with water before you ever go cut it?
That's exactly what I did.
Okay, and then it's okay to go ahead and grind into it, make the openings at that point?
It was. I'm not going to say it's okay every time, but it seemed to work for me that time.
So you didn't just use a cutting torch and squint real good?
Oh man.
Well, I've got a tank. I've got a tank sitting around. I thought maybe I'll make one next time. Even though I do like that Apollo, I also like the value of making things yourself. But I would assume that just filling it with water and you're dumping it out, and it's backfilling with atmospheric oxygen at that point, so it should be okay just to cut into.
Honestly, the hardest thing was getting the valve out. I put a pipe wrench on it with a big cheater bar and got it, but it took me a little bit of cranking. I used ratchet straps to ratchet to a pole and just cranked on it.
Oh, you should have just used a grinder to grind that valve off. Don't do that at home, guys. We're just kidding. We're just kidding. So that would be the fastest way. Eric, you made something pretty cool today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I was I've got a whole bunch of knives that I've got a hand sand handles on, and it was one of those things where I'm sitting here going, and I do not feel like putting these in a regular vise and to hold them, so I needed a knife vise. I didn't want to wait to order one, and so I went ahead and made a pretty simple one that worked out ridiculously well. I sent y'all some pictures of it. Now I've changed it just a little bit. I went ahead and added leather, I epoxied leather to the actual little holder section of it so that I could put the knives in there and not have to worry about taping them up or anything like that. And
so you're going to put out a video. You're going to put out a video, and in there you're using a rail clamp. You use a section of pipe. You welded a couple nuts onto it and put a couple turn handles, and you've got a large wooden dowel that goes down the center of it, and that you split it in half. So you're saying you put the leather on both halves so that it grips your steel tight, but more softly as with regard doesn't damage the steel or anything.
That way I don't have to tape the knives up every single time I'm going to use it. I want to be able to just put the knife in there, do sanding that I need to do on it or something like that, and make it pretty easy. So I went ahead. One of the things, like there's certain things I had to think through. Of course, if you're going to put a knife in there, you've got to get rid of material down the center so that you have space for the pieces to clamp onto the knife and things like that. But the way that I filmed this one, this is the first version of it. I'm filming it for a YouTube short. So it's in regular, vertical portrait mode. And I'm going to put it out as like a 1-minute video. And then I'm going to end up making a better version of it. Now that I've realized how easy this is and how well I can make a really cool version of it, I'm going to make a bigger version.
Will you have to get a larger pipe and then just weld a base to it to hold it?
I've got a whole entire thing that I'm going to do to make it actually really, really cool. It's going to take a little bit of welding and stuff like that, but I'm going to make it to where if I want to put something that is like 2.5 inches wide, I can put it all the way through deep into it. And if you've seen the knife makers vices that have a pretty big channel in them, I'm going to do one of those, and then I'm going to go through and just make it to where it can articulate all the different ways. But after making this one, I thought, oh yeah, I could definitely make this even better. But this is definitely going to work for what I'm doing. And I'll be able to just sit there and sit down. It's the right height for me to be able to sit in one of my chairs and just hand sand and get into all the nooks and crannies.
Listening to that wild music all over the board that you listen to while you're sanding.
Yep. Well, I got the TV in there now, so I can throw on YouTube videos and all that, or whatever I want to do, and just do my thing.
10-4. Well, let's move into a little bit of a segment here, and Eric, while we got you going, we had talked on a previous episode where the company downsized and decided to go with the guy that you had actually trained in the past. And without getting into that so much, that's irrelevant. That's that company. It sets you out on a venture to go ahead and start becoming a full-time maker, and whether it's a content maker or knife maker. How's that going? Walk us through it. What have you seen? What have you learned?
So again, like I've said this a couple of times, the big thing is transitioning from the way that I'd made knives before, because I was a YouTuber that made knives, transitioning from that avenue to being a knife maker that films it here and there, and trying to be able to do more, I want to say production knives than anything, do more sets of knives, and trying to get a better rhythm, because a lot of the stuff that I did prior to this, I still did some runs of knives here and there, but a lot of it was big custom builds. I'm making something that is, you're spending hours upon days working on it, and each one of them are super involved. And going from that to, man, I need to knock out 10 knobs. It's a different lane. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's something that you got to think through, and thinking about prioritizing things. You need way more epoxy. You need way more materials. You need way more abrasives. You need way more space to do everything. There's a lot that goes into it. And the planning, because you run out of material super fast whenever you're making 25 knives. Propane, um, just all those consumables is something that you got to really think about whenever you're doing this. It's a lot different than you're, making 5 knives a month, 6 knives a month, or you're making, like right now, I've got 34 that I have going right now, and it's a big difference. Such a big difference.
Yeah.
Do any knife makers ever go out and put the big pig propane tanks out on the side of their shops? You ever seen that?
I'm debating on it. I'm debating on putting it because they can go down my alley and fill it.
Right.
So I've been debating on having one dropped off in my backyard to where they can just go through and they can fill it and run it. Something that is really big, because
That'd be
I'll
smart.
tell you right now,
That'd be smart.
those little 5-gallon tanks,
Yeah.
whenever you're forging, like, because I forge a lot of knives.
Yeah.
Almost everything that I make is forged, and it is. I go through so much propane. It's insane.
So those
Yeah.
big tanks are usually they've got a regulator to set it out at house pressure. So you can use a giant tank, but you just have to talk to your gas company to get the regulator that will do the stuff that we need.
Correct.
You may have to get. It's not quite as simple as buying a big fatty off of Facebook Marketplace or something. You have to switch it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I've so doing RVs and stuff like that. We have a lot of people that they buy their RVs and to do long-term living in them, and we always tell them to upgrade to the 100-gallon plus tanks, the big ones that they have dropped off, and a lot of the times those are regulated through their through the regulator that's on the actual RV. So the few companies that I would go through, it's basically just a 100-gallon tank with just their valve at the top, and they can plumb it for you, but I would go ahead and plumb it. I'm propane certified, so I would just go ahead and plumb everything and run all the stuff. I just need them to drop the tank and fill it.
Why don't you open up a propane business in your backyard, and that way you can fill grill tanks for people and then just pull off of that supply to.
Well, I can do that. I am registered through the Railroad Commission to
there you go.
to do all that stuff. That was
you could sell propane and propane accessories. And
propane accessories.
Backyard. It'll be great. It'll be great.
In the alley, you got to stand in the alley.
Yeah, in the alley, drinking beers. Yeah, for sure, man. I can't. What's that?
John Norwood, the Old Hickory Forge.
Yep.
I was talking to him at Blade Show, and he actually got 300-gallon tanks.
Oh yeah,
out on the side of his shop, and they come fill those for him, no problem. His propane company, so he doesn't have to haul them in town.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I would end up doing.
I go down to the local farm supply. They just happened to be closed when I went. Had to go to U-Haul, but I gotta get them up in my truck and strap them and then get them down there and back. So that'd be kind of cool if I had somebody could do that. Yeah. But King of the Hill, that takes me there. Why did they cancel that show?
I don't know, but the guy that Mike Judge based that off of, my mom used to work for them at the propane place there in Leander. They're good folks.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
If he was making knives, they wouldn't have canceled it.
Yeah, I guess not.
Right?
But man,
Totally.
I mean, we're still dealing with SpongeBob's like 37 years old now, but
Bart Simpson's been going 25 years, right?
Yeah, Bart's still living at the house. He's a deadbeat. But Hank Hill, man, that's a good upstanding dude. As long as he wasn't accidentally, eating somebody's cocaine or whatever else on the show. What was the episode where they were out fishing and they had this magical bait that the fish were biting, and I think it was some type of rock cocaine or something they were feeding them. And anyway, they had acquired somehow. So
did you ever make any of those baits, Chip?
No. But I will tell you something that I did do, and I didn't think about it. You can go out and buy a rattle trap, plastic bait, hard plastic, just goes through the water.
Yep.
Well, I made wooden baits, and I did paint plastics that I purchased, but I made wooden baits, and I was like, I need to come up with a way for a rattle. Well, I figured out that if I went out and bought 22 casings that I could put them opposing each other and put a little steel bearing in there. And when I did that, it made this beautiful rattling sound. It was click. It was a click, 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 click. And boy, did they catch fish. Well, I had bought the casings, and I was grinding them down on my grinder to the right width and putting that bearing and epoxying them in and then surface coating. It was a beautiful lure. You didn't see the bearing. And I had run out. Well, I had some shots for a nail, or blanks, or not blanks, what do you call them? The casings for a nail gun, little 22 casings. And I found out, well, I could just take a pair of snips and cut off the end, empty out the gunpowder, and then clean it out real good, and then put it, and I could put those together. Same thing worked with the bearing. Well, a guy had said to me, he goes, I was out using the lure, and I heard this pop, and it came back, and I only brought like half the lure back. It must have been one hell of a fish. And we looked at it, and what I found out, I found out afterwards, is the lure exploded because there's a little compression or some type of cap in there.
That charge.
And it got tick, 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 pow. And it
there's
blew
primer material around the rim of those shells.
Yeah, well, the lure blew up in the water, thank goodness, and I hadn't made a lot of those.
That's awesome.
So while I had emptied all these out, I learned, and then I took a little scribe, and what I would do is go down in the lure, in the casing, and scratch it around until that primer activated. I was holding in a little pair of pliers, and it'd go, the gunpowder, whatever it was. Then I knew it was safe to use those up, and I did, because they were perfectly good. But yeah, I made an exploding lure.
Chip's over here making little mini bombs.
What could possibly go wrong?
Could you imagine what the
the ATF
ATF had gotten into that, guys making little terrorist fishing lure bombs?
Well,
killing.
Some people fish with dynamite. You're not supposed to do that. Chip was just like, I'll just put it in the lures. It'll be okay.
Perfectly fine.
Let's just say that's not on my resume. Just so Otis here will know that the original exploding lure, Chip Carlisle. 3 go it in and boom, and 3 fish float up. I don't know. Hey, I need some redemption. And speaking of that, from that part of my life, guys, you need to go out and check out redeemsteel.com. They're made up of craftspeople of all sorts: blacksmiths, bladesmiths, metalworkers, woodworkers, leather workers, just good people all around. And they use their talents to build homes for the homeless, give water to the thirsty, feed the hungry, share the good news of Jesus Christ, and so much more all over the world. Matter of fact, they were just in another part of the world here, and built some classrooms and stuff here recently. Redeem Steel is a Christian 501c3 nonprofit organization that uses the works of our hands and the words of our lips to make an everlasting impact on the people, the humans that we serve. Everybody needs an opportunity to succeed, and they do a great job of getting people back up off their knees and celebrating Jesus Christ, and letting them know that God is always there for them to help them to continue to grow. The good news is when you see rock bottom, you can always see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you just look up, it's up there. You just got to keep looking, and once you hit the bottom, there should be some good Christian people out there to help lift you back up. Hey, Mark, I saw you waving at me there. Did you have something you wanted to add, or you just feeling wavy tonight?
I was waving at Eric's kids.
Well, he took them off screen, so we'll
he did.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Eric's kids. And also, while we're at it, I want to add in at Pop's Knife Supplies. Pops at popsknifesupplies.com or popsknife.supplies, either one. Pop's Knife was started 40 years ago by James Poplin. James is no longer with us, but he was already an accomplished maker when he started the supply business. And he served the making community for many years with leading industry prices, with actual shipping costs being returned back to you. Or excuse me, let me start that over. He charges you a shipping rate and they refund the difference. There we go. I just got tangled up there. But it's run today by Alan Searles, Joe Berry, Dirk Lutz, and Andy Roy. I'm not sure if he's still on board there or not, but they're all full-time knife makers. Their focus is customer service and great products and prices. And just to make sure there's no confusion on what I said, that Mr. Poplin always charged a fee for shipping, and being the honest gentleman that he was when he was living and owned the business, that he would refund the difference of that shipping back to you, and Pops carries that on today. So you guys go out and visit our buddies at popsknifesupplies.com or popsknife.supplies. They'll be happy you did, and you will too. You'll get great products. Eric, your kids ran out of the room, but Mark wants you to know he was waving at them on camera. Just
oh yeah.
Okay, Mark, I was just bringing it full circle. There's
I
nothing.
see that. I see that.
Yeah, it's nothing like, going out to show a little love and people just turn away from you. I didn't want you to feel bad. Didn't want you to feel bad there.
So the internet told me that I've got a package coming from Pops tomorrow. Which is awesome because everybody likes to work on something on the weekend. So, what are you going to work on this weekend? Somebody jump out there.
Well, Chip, you're working on something, right? What are you working on a new knife? I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, I am. I'm this weekend. Do I have anything on order that's coming in? I got something. I can't remember what it is. That's the problem with Amazon. You find something you like or somewhere online and you order it and you never know what it is. But for my birthday tomorrow, you get to a point when you're old enough that you've just got enough in your life. So my birthday present tomorrow is I'm going to take the grandkids out and buy them some cowboy boots.
There you go.
One right. for each of them. Yeah. They're 3.5, so they're not that expensive at that age still. So we're not going to the Western store. We're just going to go down to the local shoe store and get them some little Western boots that they can wear. But yeah, I certainly not making knives like Eric, but I've had the opportunity to have a couple weeks off and decided to hammer out a knife from a piece of round bar stock. And it's certainly, when I look at it and some feedback I got from some well-known makers and things that I saw as well in it, things that I would improve and do better next time. But I made that for a gentleman who's going to give it to his son-in-law. So it's an integral forge and turned out extremely well for my first integral knife in my mind. I hope that 25 of those from now, they look even better. But then I also mentioned, using these TR Maker parts to be able to file in those bolsters on the backside to accept the handle, be able to file in the shoulders on these. I'm enjoying making knives. I'm like Eric. He says, one of your videos, or you've said in the past that, you'd never really made any hidden tang knives. It might be in a video you've done when you first started making them.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing kind of the value in making those hidden tang knives. They gives you a lot more responsibility for handle shaping. You can't follow the outline of the tang anymore. And so you've got to become a better handle maker, and you'll find out really quick that your skill set is not as advanced as it is when you work on a full tang. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't let me insult anybody, because it's just a different set. It's like you're molding the clay with drawn lines rather than a piece of hardened steel to guide you around it. And getting those things to fit up, I've got to work better on my museum fit for my handles. But all in all, I have got a piece of 1 inch or 7/8 inch 5160, I believe it is, hex bar that I'm going to be beating into a chef's knife after I finish making Sutoku. You know what I'm trying to say. I can't. It's a couple words you can't say in your life. There we go. I can't say synthesizer, that instrument either. Y'all got any words y'all can't say?
Yeah, a
I
lot of
never
them.
spelled Euro.
Shegman is a good one.
Shegman, yeah, very good. Shut up.
Well, I can't spell that one. Yeah.
Well, it's knife-maker.com. Can you spell that?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, did I get lucky. But those TR makers, as far as using that to go through a 3/4 inch piece of brass and file in a perfect opening to use a press to guide that bolster down on one of the chef knives. And I'm using a piece of ebony. And Mark, you sent me a piece of wood a while back. It's about a 6x6 inch slab. It's got tan with some brown lines running down through it.
Yeah, it's probably zebra wood.
Zebra wood. Okay, good. Yep. I didn't know what to call it, but that makes sense now. So I'm going to be using that and a piece of ebony on the handle that I'll be doing tomorrow. That's what I'll be doing this weekend. So I kind of jumped all over the board with this, but I was extremely pleased, I must say, and I want to say that publicly, for people like Josh Howard and Josh Ferran to tear the knife down for me, the forged piece. And be honest with me, you can't beat that with a stick. To have people of that caliber do that, I know you guys would do that too. Yep. But then for Otis here to come back and give the words of encouragement, because we've seen him become a forger, and I know that Jason and Eric, you're an excellent forger as well. That to get the words of encouragement and also acceptance on saying, you did a really nice job on that first knife. It certainly gives you the energy to want to start, blowing out your shoulders, beating on steel. And then, I will tell you, I've done one knife. I'm already thinking that if I sell 10 knives, I can afford a press. So hydraulic press. So I'm already there. And then I'm thinking I kind of have a building to put it in. But I'll be beating on some knives and buying cowboy boots this weekend. So
hey, I'll tell you one. I guess it's two tricks, but it's basically one trick. And you might have actually done this with whenever you did your hidden tang like that. What makes doing regular full tang knives simple is you have the steel down the center, so you can see you have a center line that you can visually measure away from to make sure things are even and make sure that whenever you're looking down the spine of it, it's even. Whenever you do a hidden tang, your block could be off at an angle or something like that. But the easiest way to do it is just take a ruler or something and mark all the way down from your spine all the way to the butt of the block, mark down it, and then go down the belly, and you'll give yourself a visual tang right there that's centered. And then take your template, take your knife, put it on a piece of paper, draw out the knife, draw out the handle shape that you want, and then take that, stick it on the side of the block, draw it out, and you basically have a tang that you're looking at, because you got a profile you're trying to get to. And then for you doing a museum fit, again, just take yourself a marker, put your block on there, and then draw around your bolster. And then just the whenever I'm doing mine, a lot of times I'll actually take, if I'm doing a museum fit like that, and I'll just grind down to that area that's going to butt up to it, and then I will do the rest of the handle away from that.
I'll tell you, Josh Ferran had a good point there, and I'm going to tell you something about you and someone else here in a second. But he said, because what I did is I did draw around and got that circle, but when I went back and was doing some of my finishing is when I got a little too deep on that. And he had mentioned using some electrical tape to tape around your bolster that'll help you keep that visual edge so you don't go deep. So I've got that idea also for next time. But I will tell you what you just told me. I watched several TRE videos, and also some of what's that guy's name? Is Spit on Your Blade?
Kyle
Warrior.
Kyle got spit on his blades, Royer, and I will tell you, you both have done an excellent job in doing videos on doing those hidden tangs and shaping them. A lot of great detail in the things you're mentioning. And one thing I saw on one of might have been the Royer videos, it may have been yours, I'm not sure. They used a height gauge, and you lay your blade on a 1, 2, 3 block, with the with your glued handle on, and you take that height gauge and you run it around the edge, flip it over, run it around the edge, and then you've got a perfectly distanced line going around both sides, and you sand it down to both of those lines, and then your geometry is perfect on your width of your handle. Then you can draw up your lines from there.
If you don't have a height gauge, take yourself some pieces of metal or wood, take a marker, lay it down onto it, and then just move. You can actually either move the marker all the way around,
right,
and use it that way, because not everybody has a height gauge that they can zip tie a pencil to or a marker to. But yeah, you just need to get to the height that you want, and then just mark all the way around it.
We get creative like that. I'm glad you said that, because I don't have a height gauge, and I'm going to have to apologize to Otis here because he's a big proponent of them. And I was like, who needs a height gauge? And now I'm like, I could use one, because you find the not the widest, you find the thinnest part and that handle off of, and you match that, and then you go around, and then that sets your height for both sides. But I didn't have that, so I used I've got a set of calipers, they're just fine. So I used my calipers and set that, and I drug them around and I scribed it, and then I went back over it with a pen and marked it from there. So yeah, use what you got. But I thought, well, I'll just go on Amazon and buy a height gauge just for doing this. I can get one for whatever bucks, and I realized rather than get a plastic one that's going to fall apart and maybe not be as precise as the Pop's Knife Supplies has a good, was it $59-$69, something like that? And
that's the one I got.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll when you maybe you can trade that to Josh Varan for a straightening hammer.
I will tell y'all this. I do a lot of that stuff for the videos so that people can actually see the process. But if I'm not filming it, I don't use any of that stuff. I don't use height gauges. I don't do guidelines. I don't mark anything. I've been lucky enough to be able to have a really good eye for symmetry and eyeballing things, that I really don't do hardly any of those things, but they're really helpful for people who don't have the ability to see things that way. I've just been lucky enough that I've done so many careers that have required me to be able to do it, that now I'm just comfortable with being able to just do it. And I would say, if you don't have that, use your tools, man. You're not doing anything less makerish if you use tools. Tools make your life easy.
Yep.
Not everybody can just do everything. Everybody wants to freehand things. Maybe you're not that good at freehanding.
That's right.
There's okay. They make tools to make your life easy.
I found out also watching Tyrell and that guy who I spit on his knives, and they use their tables as a edge to pull their knives down instead of just freehanding it. They're using the table to run their knives across, and they make them beautiful knives. So I've actually found I'm freehanding. I haven't used a jig in a long time, and I know I'm going to go back and use one, because I think there's just times when it's just be nice to use one. But I use my table after I ground in my initial bevel for the cutting edge. I use my table to do these last two knives, and it was amazing how good a process that is as well. But with all that being said, I want to let everybody know that our very own Eric Rivers, who you're chatting with right now, he has the Rivers Experience on YouTube, and it's to teach you the fine arts of knife making. On YouTube, as well as TRE Workshop. So you're also in a community of other makers that are learning at different rates and all helping each other. Never a negative or a sarcastic, well, maybe some sarcastic because I'm there, but never a bad community by any means. There's no arguing or fighting or anything. It's just it's a loving community, and a agape love sense, not a man love sense, because that would be weird. So anyway, he's on TRE Workshop on Facebook as well as YouTube, and you guys should join in the fun. You can find him at theriversexperience.com for his website. You can find him at the Rivers Experience on YouTube, and you can find him at TRE Workshop on Facebook. And I guess what are you on Instagram, Eric?
The Rivers Experience. It's
The
a
Rivers
same
Experience
thing
as
for
well.
pretty much everything.
Yeah. So Eric is a fine addition. And I will tell you, I'm one of those people that uses the lines Eric says. It just works for me. It gives me a visual aid, but I find that I don't always rely on them. They give me something, but I'm kind of in between probably where you are and where somebody that would just totally need those lines. So I think that's just developing muscle memory and the ability to see something in your piece as you're bringing it to life. Don?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about hidden tangs. Is there any way, if you're doing stock removal like I do, is there any way you can go in there and prep different blocks and just build your knives to them certain blocks? You know what I'm saying? Knock out a few of them.
So if you had a router table or something like that and we're doing mortise, you sure could. If you made your tangs a uniform size, you could make blocks in the same uniform size and make them fairly interchangeable.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Forging, it's a little harder because all the tangs end up a little bit different on each one.
Mm-hmm.
But stock removal, it would not be hard to set a set of dimensions and make a set of handle blocks.
Yeah, make out handle blocks. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say only make your tangs as long as you need to, because if you make really long tangs, that's a lot of wood to clean out with a tool.
Yeah, so you want half or 2/3 of the length of your handle.
Yeah.
You don't want them a little stubby. They like a stubby tang,
and make them as tall as possible. You know, they don't need to be. You don't need to have a huge step down. You know, if the ricasso is 3/4 of an inch, you don't need some little 1/4 inch tang. You know, you use as much of that tang as you can height wise.
Just come
only
off an
step
eighth
it down.
or something. Yeah, it doesn't have to be very much.
Yep.
Yeah,
I saw a method. I've never done it, but I've seen it done where guys would use a dowel rod and like cut down the center of a dowel rod to fit around the tang, and then drill a hole into the block, the diameter of that dowel rod, and use that to set their hidden tangs in. I don't know how you. Like I said, I've never done it, but I've seen it a few times.
The Japanese.
A lot of Japanese. Japanese chef's knives for their wall handles.
Yep.
The ones that are going to be like hexagonal and stuff like that, those are going to be set up that way, and you're going to see a lot of the dowel rod handle construction with theirs, and it's a traditional way that they do theirs, and it actually makes life so much easier.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a long time, I was taught to drill a row of holes in your tang where you want it and then file out in between them. And that's sort of hard. But what I have started doing lately is drilling one hole about 3/8 down the center and then using my broach to cut in, because I'm putting a guard over it anyway, and I'm also filling it up with glue. So that has turned out quite a bit easier than trying to cut the web out in between these holes.
Yeah.
Using your drill bit all sideways to try to
That's
water
right.
it out.
Bending it.
Yeah.
I've
started doing
integral
that, just drilling
for that.
a 1/4 or 3/8 hole straight down the middle of where the tang is going to go, and then use my broach to cut the corners.
Yep.
Good idea.
Oh yeah. It makes life a lot easier. And I'll tell you this: if you like the process of hidden tangs, make a through tang, and you'll like it even more. It's doing a through tang is awesome. It's one of my favorite handle constructions that I've ever done, where they're all through tang construction. I love them. I've got an integral bolster one that I'm going to be doing that is going to be really nice, and all the saxes and different knives like that I've done. Some of the buoys, they're going to be all through tang. It helps you. It is better construction for your overall build too, rather than just have the tang end inside the handle.
So what kind of different things do you do on the back end to secure?
So I'll either do butt caps, pommels.
And then
I've,
peen.
I haven't, yeah, and then peen it over. But I've done one threaded, where you go through and you actually uh, do the whole entire threading process with all that, and that turned out pretty good. But I'll tell you, if you're going to go that route, you almost there's a lot of, I wouldn't say math that goes into it, but you got to plan ahead,
Yeah, you
because
got
if
to
you're
be
going to
right.
have yeah, because if it's not, that bad boy is off and it looks goofy.
So
So
I've never done a full threaded pommel like the big old school brass stuff from the
yep,
80s, but I've done a
and
whole
then
bunch
you
of butt caps and threaded. One cool trick, if you're nervous about all those parts, is you can take the female end of a Corby bolt and use that as your pommel nut. So you just get a little round deal on the back
that's
end.
super smart.
You just thread the tang to the same threads. Mine are 832 to the same threads as your Corby. Drill your hole, drill your countersink,
Yep.
screw it on there with threads, and grind it off like a Corby, and you end up with a perfect little circle back there.
Is that your Templar's tip for this episode, or do you have another one for us?
I mean, I can do more. I've got a whole book full of tips.
Well,
Did you know that,
gosh, it's time for Templar's Tips with Jason Fry and his book,
Knife Making Hacks: 384 Tips to Make Knives Like the Pros. All right, so this
It's
is
a good book.
I like it. It is the best knife making toilet book in the world.
That's right.
I mean, it really is. So this is tip number 237, and then a couple more on the next 39 and 40 go with it also. So 237 says this: use your own knives in the real world as much as possible. Skin and process your own deer or elk. Fillet your fish. Cut up your vegetables in your kitchen. Pay attention to what you like and don't like when using your own work, and then improve it. And then a couple of follow-up tips before we run off. Avoid sharp edges on a knife except for the actual cutting edge. The front edge of your guard or bolster should have the corners rounded a bit, even if it's just a few passes with a 600 grit stone. Only the cutting part of a knife should cut. And then finally, some like jimping or grooves cut along the spine of a knife for grip, and others prefer decorative file work, and still others a plain spine. But regardless, round the corners of the spine a bit. It'll make the knife more comfortable to use. Again, so I have always come at knife making from coon skinning, or deer hunting. And so tips like that kind of came natural to me, but I know a lot of guys don't come at it that way.
So if people want to read the other 281 tips, how can they do that?
I sell these books autographed on my website at frycustomknives.com. You can buy knife making hacks direct from me, and I'll autograph them. I mean, if you want to buy them at gundigest.com or Amazon or something, they'll sell you one, but it won't come with my signature. So, yeah, just hit me up, frycustomknives.com.
Yeah.
I'll jump in too. That hey, the tips are all great, but I can't say enough about the collection of pictures that you got in that book, right? I mean, I go in through and read the tips all the time, but like sometimes I will just go through and say these are some amazing knives that you've collected pictures of.
So as the author, that was the most fun part of the whole thing. Honestly, was getting to look up at as many of the best knives in the world that I could find pictures of. I had full access to Jim Cooper's catalog, Caleb Royer's catalog, and I could pick anything I thought was cool. So sometimes people will ask me, did you make all those? It's your book. No, I didn't make all those. Intentionally, there is one knife of mine pictured in the book, and I intentionally put it as the very last one. Because I'm an okay knife maker. I can write books pretty good, but man, there are a lot of really, 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 really good knife makers in the world, and I used a lot of their pictures.
Man.
Caleb Royer, any relation to Kyle?
Yes, that's his little brother.
Yeah.
Little brother. Yep. Okay, very good. Very good.
That's his media presence.
Gotcha. I thought there was. I just wanted to validate that. So there's somebody else. He makes knives. I'll have to. He's making knives also, correct?
Caleb, no, he was just doing photography. He is actually
withdrawn.
That's right. Withdrawn from that, having had his first child. I think he has shifted gears and gone other directions. But he was one of the premier photographers in the country for a while.
No opportunity to spit in his general direction then.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that's
okay. I keep a spit diary. and a poop diary, all the places I've pooped in the world.
All right.
Anybody?
Well, no, that's okay.
I don't think I'll ask my publisher about that one.
Anybody here use the public restroom at the Great Wall of China just outside of Beijing? I have. Thank you very much.
I have not.
There you go. That's why you got to write this stuff down. You got to write this stuff down. I will tell you one thing about going to China. The urinals are, I wouldn't want to get caught urinating outside of a bathroom in China. Because it's a communist country and everything, but when you go into a public restroom, well, it's a trough. Everything there's either a hole in the ground or a trough for all your business.
Yeah.
So you go to pee in the trough running along the wall where things just kind of run out somewhere. But during the course of the day, people dribble. And when I got to the Great Wall of China, and I had to do number one. You're standing like 6 feet back because you don't want to walk through the puddles. But all the guys with the tight prostates are just wetting the floor everywhere. So it was just a miserable experience. It was like you got to walk through the pee-pee. So I don't know. If you go to China, just use the bathroom in your hotel before you go out, and don't drink a lot of water or beer because or wear a good pair of shoes. That's all I'd say.
That's good to know.
Here's another tip. If you have to use the other type of bathroom, that's the number deuce. Take your own paper.
Yeah.
They don't have toilet paper in the closets there. That's what they have closets you go into with a hole in the ground. There's no toilet paper. You discover this at an inopportune time.
Darn.
Just so you know. Little internet, the things you learn. That's a Knives Templars tip from Chip Carlin. The more you know, exactly. So hey, I've got something to announce. Hey guys, if you want great abrasives, you need to go out and check out Phoenix Abrasives. They offer great prices, selection, quality, and quick delivery. They have a complete inventory of belts, rolls, discs, wheels, and all types of knife making tools. Matter of fact, I recently saw they've got some of Kyle Daly's sanding tools out there on their website. Make great products, and if you put in Templars with an S, Templars 10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order. I told you guys I had a little announcement to make. As you know, Phoenix has been the number one go-to abrasives provider to the Knives Templars, but I will be joining up with Phoenix Abrasives to promote their wonderful belts that I think just work wonderfully. But I'll be working with them exclusively. All of my belts will come through, and sanding materials and tools will come through Phoenix Abrasives for those types of needs. And you'll start seeing some more information come out about that here in the future. So Greg over there has graciously given me the opportunity to work closer with them on these types of things. So here in the future, look for a lot more to come out. I'm going to tell you. There's a lot of people that advertise that, watch this belt, watch it shred this piece of steel, and they put a well-known knife maker on there. They crank that grinder up to 100%, and they hit it with a 36 grit belt, and you sit and watch it just eat away the steel as quickly as it hits the grit. Guys, there's a few companies out there that make excellent belts. I can take the products from Phoenix and eat that steel away just as quickly. So you want good quality belts, but the thing that sets them apart is service. And you place an order, and by gosh, it goes out on practically the next day, if not that afternoon. And one last thing I want to say is that now you can go to phoenixabrasives.com and order directly from their site. Their catalog is there. You can pull up the belts you're looking for. You can go to checkout with Venmo, PayPal, and be on your way, because those belts are going to arrive in the next day or so. So go out and check out phoenixabrasives.com. Mark, what were you going to say?
So, you're mentioning customer service for them, right? So I needed some more belts, and it was, after Thanksgiving, my in-laws left Friday morning, and so I was like, hey, I need to get some more belts. So I made a phone call over there and said that, hey, I have a list here that of belts I need to order, and so it wasn't Greg. It's I forget the other owner's name.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, it wasn't spaghetti.
Oh.
So he said, "Hey, wait a second. Let me put. We're not working today, but I have my phone. Let me pull my car over, and I will take your order." And so, he was like on the highway. He pulled over onto the shoulder and then wrote down my order and then called it in. When he got where he was going. So, I'll tell you that there's not too many companies out there. That basically the answer would be get a recording that we were closed. And for most companies, so just real testament that hey, they really care about their customers and are doing what they can to get us what we need.
Well, Chris Jones, who used to be on the podcast, had alluded in the old commercial that he had that was he had waited 2+ weeks to get belts from other well-known providers. So he actually brought us to Phoenix, and they have continually lived up to that expectation for more than a couple of years now. So a couple of years with us, but even longer with folks like Chris. So. Good company. Hey, what kind of grinder would you put those belts on, Mark or Don? Either one.
Well, I would put them on my Ameribraid.
No, they would go nicely on other grinders. Phoenix belts fit a variety of different grinders. I know that even Grizzly's got a new one out. Eric can maybe tell us a little bit about that here shortly. But if I was looking for a grinder, I certainly would go after Ameribraid. And Eric and Kevin over there, they have developed one of the best grinders, accessories, and tools on the market. They have 3 packages. What are they? Get grinding?
Yep.
Come on, guys. This is a test. Get grinding.
Mastering. And what's the the middle one?
The middle one. Whatever the middle one is. And the middle one.
Yeah. What is it?
You guys look at what we're saying. If you don't want to buy the Get Grinding, just skip through the middle and go right to the Mastery.
Yeah. That's the best price right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly what you get with the Mastery, it slipped my mind. I'm going to be 59 tomorrow. Don has an excuse. Well, yeah, but Don has. Thank you. Don has an excuse. I have an excuse. None of the rest of you have an excuse. Right. You're all still young bucks. Go ahead. The Mastery.
What is that?
I'm almost there.
He's getting there.
Come on now.
Foundations package.
Foundations. Yeah. Sorry about that, Kevin.
Yes. Foundations. And that's true. The foundations is a step up because you're getting your variable speed drive and you're getting a few more tools out of it. But if you go out and get the Mastery package, you're getting all the small wheels and all the other things that come with it as well. Just a wonderful, wonderful package with a stand. That stand has wheels that come down and go up. They've got little feet that'll come down and lift those wheels off the ground. You can move it around your shop and clean around it. Just a wonderful, wonderful tool. So you guys go out and check out Ameribraid.com. It's a hefty machine. Those tool arms, I love them. They're nice, big, steep things. Matter of fact, right now I'm looking at their waterfall.
Yep.
Jig.
Yep.
And it goes on the small wheel attachment. So I'm looking at that. I'm also looking at some being made out of Australia as well. I like the ones for Ameribraid because you can put the variety of wheels that we have on there. The ones from Australia come in 2 different sizes, 2 smaller sizes. So I may just go ahead and drop the money. Yeah, Don.
What about a discount we got with them?
Well, you do know that if you go to Ameribraid.com and you put in Templars 100, you will get nothing. You will get nothing, I tell you. If you put in Templars 80, what will you get?
Nothing.
You get them to laugh a little bit when they see it.
Yeah. Well, what if you put in Templars 50?
Nothing.
No.
I don't know if that does anything either.
Well, I would say, I think it's, what if you put in Templars 20?
Hey, you'll get it, baby.
Oh,
yeah. Bingo.
And what do you get, Don? tell the audience what they will get.
What you'll get is a whole lot of love. Tempers 20 at checkout would give you 20% on all their
20% off.
20% off on all their
parts and
parts
accessories.
and accessories. No grinder.
There we go.
No grinder.
There we go. Yeah, you're not going to get 20% off, but I tell you what, if you're looking at a grinder, I encourage you to call because you're going to speak to the owners there. Call and speak to Kevin or Eric because I know that when I was looking for a grinder, they certainly will work with you on, negotiating what you want to get in your particular grinder, because number one, they're wanting to establish a good customer base, even beyond the one that they've got right now. So, always call them and talk to them because I know Don and myself and
Mark.
Others, well, Mark, yes, I'm sorry, but others have reached out to him. I've seen him at the Blade Show and people, and they're just constantly working with people. But I'm a big PM and change parts kind of guy. I could just about build if I had another motor and another frame, I could just about build a new grinder out of the accessories and spare parts that I've got. Because I don't want to be grinding. One time I was using an attachment and I put a flat spot on one of my wheels, and I was like, well, crap. So now it's a paperweight at the office on my desk, which is nice to look at, but it doesn't roll off the table. But I had an extra wheel, and I went out and bought another one after that. It was a few bucks and 25, 30, 40 bucks. I don't remember what it was, but went out and bought another one and threw it in my spare parts drawer, and I'm good to go. So that 20% off is excellent on parts and accessories. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Make sure I didn't forget that. Well, guys, we're hitting an hour 41, and Mark, are you swimming anywhere this weekend?
Well, I really want to start working on some knives, but I could swim. It's warmer. It is warmer this week, so I could give it another shot up to Canada, eh?
Hey.
The Great White North. Water may be a little cold for swimming up there this year.
That's right.
But if you head up to Maritime Knife Supply, and that's maritimeknifesupply.ca, they've got great products and services for Canada and also internationally. You need to check out Maritime for great deals and service on making supplies, steel, machines. If it's knife making, by gosh, they've got it. And I will tell you, Lawrence Lake does so much for our community as a whole. He's part of the Makers Camp and a lot of things to bring new makers and develop new makers. You won't find a finer Canadian brother than, well, if you put, I have to take that back because we've got a Canadian American that we're pretty good friends of. Are friends with, and haven't spit on his knife yet, but I respect him that much. And you guys know who I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
yeah, Cowboy. No, not Kyle. Shark Boy.
Yeah, Tyrell.
Yeah. You said Tyrell. I thought you said Royer.
He's Canadian, eh?
Shark Boy.
Canadian American. Shark Boy. Well, on social media this week, he's giving his kid or his grandson rides around. He's playing the horse in the living room, and I'm like, dude's got a shark tattooed on his side.
Yep.
Living the dream. I got to get a Bigfoot tattoo now, so I can.
Yeah, you do.
Continue to develop my celebrity. But guys, check out Lawrence Lake. Head over to maritimeknifesupply.ca and see what he has to offer. We do appreciate these guys and their association with us. Go ahead, Jason.
Speaking of those guys at Maritime, I heard about them through a totally different channel this week. So I did a test with a new material to me called Voodoo Resin. Some guys that make synthetic handle materials, and I'm honestly not a big fan of synthetic handle materials. So I tried this with a good dose of skepticism, and I was quite pleased. So the Voodoo Resin synthetics that you can buy at where? Maritime Knife Supply. They're hard but not brittle, and they grind but they're not gummy. So again, I can't quite say yet that wholeheartedly endorse and I'm going to use it forever, But I was very pleased with my first experience with Voodoo resins.
They look
You can
good
get
too, man.
those
I seen that.
from our friends at Maritime Knife Supply.
Nice.
Look
Have to give
good,
it a
Jake.
try.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at these. I went to voodooresins.com and man, that's some cool looking.
It's some pretty crazy patterns. Some pretty crazy patterns. They do.
Yeah.
They do some with like an aluminum hexagon mesh in there.
I see that.
I've got some of that. I haven't tried. I just tried the
honeycomb?
solid so
The
far.
honeycomb.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of different varieties. The guy's name is Matt. I can't remember his last name, but I've met him.
Now-
I met him at Blade Show.
One knife you made had almost because I think I saw him had almost like a white scale with like some blue type lightning bolts.
Yeah,
or-
it was called Black
Or
and
light-
Tan. It was it
Oh,
looked
okay.
a lot to me like the old HS Precision stocks, right? With a black web and a tan synthetic kind of.
right.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different colors though. I mean, everything you can imagine.
Yeah, I'm looking at them here. They're about $44 a set, and
Yeah.
you know what they really remind me of is another one of our sponsors, Oleg Bashkovit over at knife-wood.com. I'll get into him in just a second, but looking online at some of their colors, it looks almost like the stabilized maple burls and stuff, and some of those types of patterns. But then it gets very distinct, as you were saying, with the honeycomb and this, that, and the other. So
Yeah,
certainly
it
worth.
polishes up really, really nice. And like I said, I was quite pleasantly surprised with how well it ground and cut compared to, I won't name other names, but compared to some other synthetic materials I've used.
Right. Well, I will tell you, just so I don't forget Oleg, and he'll be our last one I got to get in tonight. That's knife-wood.com. Almost sounds like knife-maker.com. But it's knife-wood.com. And if you go to knife-maker.com, you can find some of his wood. But he makes great stabilized wood, and he ships it over from Russia to your home. Once you use these products, you'll be sold on the quality, the artistic ability, and the customer service that he provides. He is a great individual, and continue to hope that he continues to do well in this crazy world that we've got right now with all the crazy things happening. But Oleg Bashkovich, you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on his website. It's back up and running, and you can purchase from there. Makes wonderful, wonderful products.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I think we just kind of slipped off for everybody else. Don, what do you got coming up as we start to wind her down here?
Well, I got a grandson's birthday party tomorrow. And,
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing that. I've been trying to finish up them little chippers knives I've been making, little chippies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get that done, and then I just want to tell y'all, I got a report back on a knife that I gave to a guy about 7 or 8 months ago, and he's a big time hunter. And I blessed him with one of my knives because he's been a good friend of mine. He's one of the guys that I taught how to wood turn. And he called me last night, and he said, "Buddy, that knife you gave me, man," he said, I killed 2 bucks a couple of days ago, and he goes, "Your knife, man, out." He said, "It really performed well." He said, I skint both of them, I parted them, cut them up, both of them big bucks, and it still cut hair on my arm. He said it really. He goes, because I told him, he goes, "What steel do you use?" I said, "Pops 8670." He goes, "That's carbon steel." He likes carbon steels. And he said, "Man, whatever you did, brother, you got the heat treat just right on this knife, man." He said, "Because it still pops hair when I got done with all this." So that was good to hear. That was good to hear, you know.
How do you get away with no hand sanding?
How do I get away with it? I just do bad knives.
No, you do not.
I just make piss poor knives. That's all.
You're doing belt finishes. I've seen you do some sandblasting, some other things.
Yeah, I do. I do most of my work on the bevels 36. Start out with a 36, hit a 60, 120, then I go to a A100, A100, and a 260 grit, and then medium Scotch-Brite. And then
you're hitting the flats with a Scotch-Brite too, and cleaning them up.
No, I hit the flats with a my surface grinder.
Oh, okay.
I surface grind up to about 280, something like that.
Gotcha.
And then I sandblast, especially if you're doing carbon steels. I like that sandblasting that because then acid etch it. It kind of gives it a little more.
Yeah.
But even my stainless, I do the same thing on my stainless steel knives, and then I go ahead and a lot of times I don't acid etch stainless because it takes a little bit longer. But what I'll do, I'll put it in my Harbor Freight vibratory system or shaker or whatever you want to call it. And for about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour outside of the shop because it's so freaking loud. But it's loud, trust me. And that's what I do, brother. And I've never hand sanded. And I'm not saying that to brag. It's not that. It's just I was taught, man. My mentor don't hand sand on the knives. So
well, it's a skill in itself for sure, sure. Brandon, you've been making a lot of knives. What you got going on this weekend? You making more knives or?
Honestly, we recently painted our living room and dining room, and so I am on honeydew to hang all of the mirrors and all of the pictures and all of the things. So that's what I know I'm up to tomorrow. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I'm sure I'll find something to work on out there.
Yeah. How did you go to school for photography or media or anything?
No, I double major in accounting and finance, and I have never in my life used those degrees. I was in the car business for 8 years, and then I got out of that and started doing the photo and video stuff. And yeah, it's been a weird come up.
Nice work,
Eric Rivers. Eric Rivers said you're the greatest media producer in knife making, or something like that.
That were true.
You are you kill that thing, man. Like with your posts and all that stuff.
I appreciate it. It's been a work in progress, and like trying to make videos. I've made videos for other people, and they've looked spectacular. Like I've been proud of them. Trying to film myself is just a weird situation. So I'm really trying to get used to that. That's like my hurdle I'm trying to conquer right now.
It's a lot harder to film yourself than it is because you invest things differently whenever you film yourself. Like the things that you point out, you don't tend to be as critical of other people as you are with yourself, and it comes a pain in the butt because you'll second guess things or you'll go, man, I did all this work and everything was out of focus.
Been there, done that. Yeah,
out of focus, out of frame. And again, I do a lot of video work, so when I'm looking at it, not having the control, I have to set it on a tripod, just leave it, or it's just, I'm fighting that battle.
Well, I hope that when we have opportunities, we can have you on the show again in the future. We don't do the Pops Makers Mark since season 4, but we do still elect Knives Templars honorary as that. So Don, I've seen his work. He's a really nice guy. He's a good ambassador, knife ambassador to us. So what do you say?
Oh yeah,
Mark.
Oh, definitely.
Eric, I know you're going to say
absolutely.
There you go. And Jason Fry.
Welcome aboard, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not thrown off the island.
No, not at all. No, I've liked you since I met you. You're a wonderful, wonderful young man. You bring a lot of positive influence to the love of knife making that we've all got. So I will give you, nobody else on the show's ever gotten any spending authority. I will give you $1 at Blade Show. I'll give you $10 at Blade Show. If you go to Blade Show and you have to buy one of those $10 hot dogs, I'll reimburse it. Okay.
Yes.
I need a receipt.
It's only half of the hot dog. That's half a hot dog.
That is right.
It's like almost parking validation there.
That's right.
Now you have to learn. You have to go across the street. You have to park at the mall, walk into the makeup supply store like you're going to buy something. 10 minutes later, walk out down a different aisle. If anybody's looking, they're not going to notice you. So anyway, just don't go park in row 1 and then walk across the bridge. Or better yet, sleep with Jason Fry for 3 nights. It's
It's overrated.
He includes parking. What's that?
I'm a great big spoon. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think any spooning took place in there. Of course,
that both of us not my jam. I like honey.
Kiss it on the lips. But we both stayed very sober, and so I can assure you it was a fun time, but it was on the up and up. So, man, welcome to the show. Eric, are you taking this weekend off, or you working 7 days a week?
Oh, I'll be working this week. I took a good portion of last week off, did the whole holidays thing, gave myself some holiday time off.
Oh, all right.
And then this week it's been, focusing on getting everything back on track. And then I just need to get a whole bunch of these knives knocked out so I can get them on the website for Christmas time. And that's the goal. So I'll be out in the shop working for probably about 6-7 hours tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to be profiling, or basically finishing the profile on the Serbian cleaver that we forged on Tuesday.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and clean up the profile, do the bevels, and do all that in Saturday's live stream. And so if you want to be a part of that, subscribe to the YouTube channel and then come over and hang out in the shop with me.
Hey, and when you get some spare time when you're there this weekend, take a little break. Be sure and look up housemade.us on your phone. Go see what Brian Houseworks is doing out there. He's got great Apollo Forge and that Revolution 2x72. You've got to check out. This guy is quite the tool provider in our industry. So check out housemade.us. As a matter of fact, Brandon, you've got don't you have a Revolution grinder?
I do have a Revolution, yeah. I've got a Gen 4, and I'm looking at picking up a Gen 5 here pretty quick.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. So you give him the thumbs up stamp of approval.
2 of them.
There 100%. You go. If you had 3 thumbs, would you give him 3?
I'd give him all 3.
There you go, guys. Can't beat that. And a big toe. Eric, how do you like the maybe you want to hold off until you put it out online, but how are you liking the Grizzly little grinder you've got, little variable speed grinder?
I think it's going to do great for what I'm going to use it for. I know that the issue that a lot of people have been having is with the motor that comes with it.
Yeah.
And the general consensus is the motor being a single phase with the VFD does not marry up very well. And a lot of people are thinking that's the reason why the motors have been messing up. It is a 3/4 horse motor. It is more powerful than a 1x30, but I'll tell you, I have put in work on a 1x30, and I think one of my 1x30s is 5 years old. The other one's like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And so if this Grizzly can't keep up with my Harbor Freight 1x30, it's going to be an issue. But it seems to be pretty good. Matt Rich has been modifying the heck out of his,
turned
it into a 2x48, and he has been putting in quite a bit of work with it. So
yeah, don't plug it into a GFCI. We found out, right?
Don't do that. And I'm gonna have more fun with it once I get the grinding room finished and I have everything inside there. Right now, I'm just using the 2x72 for everything, but I want to use the 2x42 for higher grit belts that I can turn that VFD down.
Gotcha.
And,
Have you, when you say the motor thing, is it just the motor's been bogging down, or what are you getting out of it?
no, so some of them have been just frying.
Oh,
The
okay.
motor has been burning up, and the people think again because it's a single phase motor um, with the VFD on it, and
Yeah.
typically that's not what you use with the VFD.
Right. Right. Well, we will
So
find out because we know that YouTube will be very truthful on how they how people feel about
oh
this
yeah,
machine. So we'll leave it out there because I want to hear what you say after you've had a chance to test it and run it and get your opinion because we value that
yep.
a lot. You tell the truth, so you tell the truth.
I'm really interested in what you have to say about it because so far you're the only person I've heard talking about it that's talking about using it after the fact. Everybody I've heard
Yeah.
talking about it has got it to basically to destroy it. Whereas you're like, I'm going to use this. So I think it's a different perspective than the other guys.
Yeah, because my goal for it in the first place was I was going to be building a sharpening attachment for my 1x30, but I'm going to build a sharpening attachment for this 2x42 because again it has the VFD, so it's not going to be under heavy duty use. Almost anything that I use it for is going to be a higher grip belt, and the fact that it's coated and all the tooling pieces are aluminum and things like that. If you want to use a water system on it, you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of rusting components. My KMG is pretty much all steel with some aluminum pieces, and me using water with it, it will want to rust super fast. If it's humid outside, my machine wants to rust. So I've got to keep CLP on it and all kinds of different things. But this, for its intended use, is going to be perfectly fine for what I'm going to use it for.
Nice.
Jason, this weekend?
Yeah. So I finished up 6 knives last weekend. So I was working on 6 sets of leather all week this week.
Oh yeah.
In between
Joyce.
things, watching Netflix, so and stuff like that. But tomorrow, my plan is I forged a knife out of a file, which sounds boring, except for this file was from an army camp that was 1870 to 1925 or so.
Darn.
And the landowner is a customer of mine, and he's been finding all these files and having me make knives out of his historical files. And his father-in-law had a favorite longhorn cow that died eventually, and so the knife that I'm making tomorrow is bone from the father-in-law's favorite cow and the file found at the father-in-law's ranch. So
that's pretty cool.
That is nice.
You can and it's just going to be a simple kitchen utility knife. I mean, the file was pitted all to heck, and it was only about 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's not going to be huge, not going to be too fancy, but it's a cool story nonetheless.
Yeah, you've always been cool like that. So I like that about you.
I have good customers that request good stuff. So
yeah.
I'm also probably working on the Battleship Texas thing some more. Again, I mentioned that earlier. The knife that I'm making for them, I ground and hand sanded last weekend and did the rough guard fit and squared up my handle block. So
yeah,
I need to finish that one out for those guys as well. Might get to that this weekend.
Mark, what do you have after ballroom dancing tomorrow?
So I'm doing a little bit of leather work. So I cut out another at least 2 sheaths for those knives. So I want to get those glued up and start stitching those.
They look
and
good.
Then really,
they look good.
Yeah, thank you. And then really the goal this weekend is just to get that tilt table working, right? And so I want to you were talking hidden tanks, but I had been planning to do another hidden tang like the last one I've done a couple knives ago, and I'm going to start that. So I'm going to cut that out and give it a shot to see if I can get some bevels done on that tilt table.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. And I've enjoyed the dancing videos you've been posting on YouTube.
Hopefully.
Mark V Max the Dancer. That's his YouTube channel. Y'all can look that up. Look, are you going to be dancing in the Christmas pageant this year or the parade?
No.
Oh.
But I'm going to be dancing, watching the cleanup.
That's
what I'm going to be doing.
Well, if you clean up at the end of the parade, you're kind of dancing in the parade as long as you put up the cleanup behind you.
That's true.
It's true. It's true.
In Texas, I used to do the, we did martial arts demos in all the parades, so it was that was pretty fun. Yep.
Yeah, that is cool.
And Abilene, you better hope you're in front of the horses.
That's right. That was a key factor.
I can imagine. Guys, it's been fun. Thank you so much. Hey, just to let you know, guys know, closing, any questions, comments, product reviews, show or guest ideas, subscribe and email us at thenivestemplars@yahoo.com or DM us on Facebook at the Knives Templars Podcast Group. Visit us at knivestemplars.com to always stay up to date. This episode is sponsored by The Rivers Experience, Redeem Steel, Knife-Wood.com, Ameribraid, Majestic Ford, Byford's Guns in Hartselle, Alabama, Pop's Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, Housemade, and Phoenix Abrasives for the Templars 10, are putting in Templars 10 for 10% off your order. And don't forget Templars 20 for your parts and accessories over at Ameribraid.com. If you have any comments, guys, we'd love to hear you. I want to get some questions and comments on the show. So you, again, DM us or email us like I talked about, but you can hear us on the following podcast providers. That's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, and CastBox. List of resources, suggested materials for you guys out there. Nice podcast on Facebook.com. And I don't want to leave out the Rivers Experience group on Facebook as well. Another great group to get involved with makers on a regular basis. Again, our email address is knivestemplars@yahoo.com. We would love to hear from you. If you want to be on the show, drop me a note and let me know. We'd always love to have people on for a segment or maybe an entire show. So with that being said, guys,
good night. Have a great week.
Have a good night, guys.
Catch y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
Buenos noches.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
All right. Well, I've got to get the soundboard fixed on this thing. It wouldn't play again, but I'll get it all piped in. Maybe something going on with either this computer or with Riverside. I'll have to look it up over the weekend. But the post show, the after game celebration.
Brandon, thanks for coming on tonight, man. Nice meeting you too.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, rumor was you were quite a weirdo, and we've come to find out you're pretty much you are. You're just
just as weird as the rest of us. Yeah.
Yep, you're just like us, so you fit in just fine.
Oh, God.
No, I enjoy interacting with you on Facebook, social media. You do a very nice job with your. Pardon me.
So you don't think I'm crazy yet?
No, I just like competing with you to see who's going to put out the next video. And you put out one with music, I put out one with music. I throw in a Bigfoot, you throw in a dog. I mean, it's just yeah. No, you're
the things that keep me going.
You're an inspirational young fella. So, and I say young fella, I know you're an older guy, but at my age, we can call everybody young, can't we, Don?
That's correct.
Young fellers.
Young fellers.
Yeah. And we can grimace. What's that, Brandon?
I said 40 is coming.
Oh, I thought you said 47. I was like, there is no way you've had a facelift.
So how old are you, Brandon? Are you same age as me?
I'm 39.
Oh.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. Same age as me.
Nice to be 39 again.
Little kids.
How did y'all like what Elon Musk had to say to Apple and mostly?
I thought it was fantastic.
It was
everything
absolutely awesome.
Epic.
Hey, I have a shirt coming that has it's a go F yourself shirt with him on it.
There you go. There you go. You could wear that to church on Sunday.
Yeah, but I was like, yes. I mean, I regardless of the word that he used, somebody's got to stand up to all the craziness in the world, and thankfully he's got the pocketbooks and everything that allows him to do that. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, hands in the air, shaking them. Yeah, all right.
I tried to GoFundMe to see if I could build an Instagram version that was friendly to knives, but so far I've only raised about $11. So.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't even get it. Completely skipped over me.
Yeah, it didn't hit me either. But lots and lots of my friends got nailed.
Oh,
I got nailed.
Of people.
I can tell you, I run stats on my videos, and if I post a video of my kids or the cat or something, I'll get 2,500 views, and if I post a video with a knife in it, it's about 300.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's clearly suppressed. But I don't
especially on Instagram.
Yeah, especially on Instagram. But I don't have $1 billion to buy an alternative. So,
right.
A lot of people go
maybe someday.
I'll tell you. I've set up an X account, and I've started posting out there, and just going to start building it. I don't know what impact, because all of the social media platforms have a little different, system that you operate within. But I figure, what the heck, might as well go ahead now, since it's a friendly. And I'm also going to be setting up my sales through. What's the name of it? There's a conservative, friendly sales platform for taking credit cards that's out
Dan
there.
Bongino's,
It's Dan Bongino's. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, I've got it on my iPad downstairs, but I've just got to go through and set it up once I finish my LLC. Yeah, that's who I'm going to be going through. So no crisis there as well. So
who is that?
So I don't have any issue with Shopify. Shopify does it. The only thing I can't do is like the affirm payment thing. They don't allow you to do the payment things on knives. So you can't do that. But my Shopify website does perfectly fine. PayPal and all the other stuff. I love Shopify.
Squarespace, and it does fine.
Who?
Yeah. A lot of people do Squarespace. It's a good one.
Yeah, I got kicked off of Square. I heard all the horror stories. Yep. I mean, I got kicked off of Square after one knife sale. I'm afraid to use PayPal because I've had it and I don't want to get permanently banned.
It's fun.
And some people have no trouble, because I hear all these guys, always saying, pay me at my PayPal account, pay me at my Square. And I'm like, it's kind of like that thing with Instagram. It hits some people, and some people, I guess, it doesn't.
That's right.
See,
that's right.
I've done. I think I've sold like 20 knives so far through PayPal on the website, and
well, if they lock you down, they'll hold your money for 6 months and then kick you off and then take your money.
No, they will. It will. PayPal will screw you. Oh, sorry. If PayPal listens to this, I'm just talking. Just calm down. I love y'all. We're good. But yes, they've been known.
I've read where they, I don't know if this to be true or not, but I've heard people report that not only did they shut me down, they took my money and said that it was for their fees or for their whatever. I don't know. But I do know people have locked it down and said it took 6 months to work it out or get anything back. So, and then they ban you. Again, this is all I've read. I don't know any of it to be true. It hasn't affected me other than getting kicked off of Squarespace after one purchase. But Bongino's, so you guys know, it's called Align Pay, ALIGNPAY. And they specialize in credit, debit, and bank-to-bank transactions and deliver services at a similar price point to competitors such as Stripe, Square, PayPal, and so on. They're fully encrypted. Personally identifiable information is not sold. So you want to look up Align Pay, and they are a provider for us dangerous people making chef's knives.
That's right.
That's funny though, because most knife deaths are typically done with a butcher knife or a steak knife. You would think us guys making the skinning knives, the outdoor knives,
and that's what makes it so. That's what makes it so ridiculous. Is if you try to drill down on some of these policies, it'll say weapons is the reason why, and it'll have a long list of things that you can't have. And guess what's not on that list? Knives. Right? They won't outright ban knives as weapons, but they won't allow them either. And a hammer is a weapon, and a screwdriver is a weapon, and a car is a weapon. A weapon is based only on intent. So the idea that a knife is inherently a weapon is ludicrous to begin with. So I think all of us here would say our issue is not right wing, left wing kind of stuff, political stuff. It's that these guys are just ridiculous. Like, they're not even internally consistent. They're not even thinking about anything but the worst of humanity. So
I'll tell you, the people that are consistent is Texas.
That's right.
whenever he came through and he said, So for the longest time, switchblades, brass knuckles,
Mhm.
call them nightsticks or whatever you want to call them, were illegal, but firearms weren't. And he said, you know what? It makes no sense that you can have a gun in this state, but all of these other random things that are less lethal are illegal. And he said, screw that. If it's under 3 feet long, you can carry it, and it's a constitutional carry. There's no license to carry
Yeah,
in this
we
state.
got all that passed in
None of it.
2017. Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
Alabama's that way with knives, all types of weapons. Now it's constitutional. Did you guys see that video I sent you guys from X today, where that power hammer comes down on that washing machine sized piece of red hot
yeah.
steel?
But he
flies
was
out and
wearing
hits the guy.
wearing his face mask, so it was
He
okay.
had as he rolled across that piece of steel, it was on fire.
As he rolled on a glowing piece of steel.
I was like, you talk about a mishit of a lifetime. That was it. For listeners, online, it was a piece of hot steel. They were stamping out a huge piece that was probably the size of a I don't know, a coffee table or whatever. And when the hammer came down and hit it, that piece rolled out and rolled across this guy, and he just rolled across it. And his face piece kept him from coming into contact by face. But man,
Wow.
I was like, oof.
Don't try that
Yeah.
at home.
that right there he should be sponsored for the rest of his life by that
Well, I would
face
say
shield,
most
because
most
that's
of
a video
China
for
is
you.
like, yeah, the world says that's unsafe, and China always says, "Hold my beer," you know.
Nah, not China, India's like, not only
Yeah.
can China hold my beer, we're gonna do what they're doing barefoot.
Right. Yeah, the hell with the face shield and shoes.
Yeah,
Watch
they're
this.
sitting there. You have people saying you can't wear loose clothing around grinders or things that are rotary tools, and they're sitting there with like they have a like a cutoff wheel on a bench grinder that's doing 5,000 RPM, and they're sitting there barefoot straddling the dang thing.
Yeah.
With it right in between their legs, they're barefoot, and they're just sitting there, grinding out things, cutting things off, profiling things, and you're just sitting there thinking, and I get crapped at for not wearing my face shield? What
Yeah,
the
well,
heck?
as
I'm
a
not having a
safety-
guard?
As a safety guy, I've seen a lot of videos through the years of people getting sucked into machines and this, that, and the other. And
Yeah, and they're wearing pajamas.
In a split second, you're doing 5,000 rotations per minute, and body parts are flying off. It's just something else.
Uh-huh.
You know what's
So-
funny?
I just-
What's funny is you see them guys over there, and they got they're sitting there like you say at a wheel, and their toenails about 3 inches long.
It's like, could you just touch that to the grinder for just a second?
Yeah.
But maybe that's a knife making thing, because I found out that when sometimes I forge in my Crocs, and sometimes I wear Crocs out in the shop just because they're comfortable, not to forge with. And I got my shoes will slide off, and it's like, dang, those toenails are long. So I grab my knife making tools and start clipping my nails in the shop. The trash and then I've got
file going to town on those things, huh?
Yeah, I've got files and a sandpaper there, and I've got some of the best pedicures in the shop, man.
A Dremel. Need a good
Clean
Dremel.
it up real good.
tool.
I didn't think about using the Dremel. That would be excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to, it's sitting right there next to me. I have to break it out next time. I still, I don't know, what do I use? I use my Dremel. I haven't used it in a long, long time, but I used it to open up my bolster where I had drilled through it and just needed to kind of open up the walls of the 3 holes a little bit.
Yeah.
And I used a carbide bit and just kind of went down there. That's the first time I've used it in a long time. But in fishing lure making, Dremel was a go-to. I had 3 Dremels that were hooked up to drill presses and routers and all kinds of things that they were just a perfect little tool for that back then.
Yeah.
I'm not a file. I'm not a guide. What do you call it? A file, spine filer like Mark is.
Mark's perfect at it.
Yeah.
Some really good filing, actually. Those knives look really good.
Do.
Oh, they're gorgeous. They are beautiful. I went out and bought 15 Nicholson files, and I will tell you, and bought the handle that you can trade out and all. Man, I love those files. I've always bought files from Lowe's and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And people say the quality on Nicholson has changed. I've just never owned any of them. And so I went and bought them and brought them home, and I tell you what, they just eat through steel. And I learned watching Eric about bluing up those hidden tangs so that you can drill and go back and file a little bit. I love that torch I bought.
Yep.
I just blew that steel back up and take those nickels and files to them, and man, it's just it's like butter. It's butter.
Butter.
So, well, guys, who wants to hear the pig?
Oinky, oinky, oinky.
Yeah, I want to hear the pig.
I made bacon out of a pig last week. Yeah,
That's
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky, oinky, oinky.